Hello, you're watching QPVN News. I'm Anh Tuấn, and here's the headlines. President LUONG receives Prosecutor General of Azerbaijan. Vietnam and Poland beef up defense cooperation. Spreading Vietnamese language in Thailand. On March the 24th, President LUONG hosted a reception for Prosecutor General of Azerbaijan, Kamran Bayram Aliyev, who is on a working visit to Vietnam. The Vietnamese state leader said that Vietnam is committed to continuing to build a professional, modern, fair, disciplined and incorruptible judiciary that serves the country and the people as one of the key tasks in the process of building and perfecting the socialist rule of law state in Vietnam. For his part, the Prosecutor General of Azerbaijan expressed his delight at the flourishing development of the bilateral relations. Reporting to the Vietnamese state leader on the outcomes of his working session with representatives of the Supreme People's Procuracy of Vietnam, the guest revealed that the two sides have signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation, which is expected to further deepen rail relations. Lauding the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Vietnam's Supreme People's Procuracy and the General Prosecutor's Office of Azerbaijan during this visit, the host leader suggested that both sides regularly exchange delegations at all levels to enhance mutual understanding and friendship while cooperating closely in training and capacity building for officials and prosecutors. On March the 24th, at the Ministry of National Defense headquarters, General Phan Van Giang, Minister of National Defense, hosted a reception for Secretary of State at the Ministry of National Defense of Poland, Paweł Bejda, who is on a working visit in Vietnam. General Phan Van Giang expressed his pleasure at the sound traditional friendship between the two countries over the past 75 years, especially during Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính official visit to Poland in January 2025. Leaders of the two countries agreed to elevate the bilateral relationship to the strategic level. This will be a foundation for the two nations to continue developing cooperation in many areas, including defense. For his part, Secretary of State at the Ministry of National Defense of Poland, Paweł Bejda, briefed the host on the outcomes of his earlier talks with Deputy Defense Minister, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, underlining that the two sides agreed to further enhance collaboration in areas where both countries have potential and needs. The guest expressed his confidence that with the political determination, goodwill and efforts from both sides, Vietnam-Poland defense cooperation will develop strongly in the future. Earlier, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Minister of National Defense, co-chaired the talks with Secretary of State at the Ministry of National Defense of Poland, Paweł Bejda. At the talks, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến affirmed that Vietnam consistently pursues a foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, peace, friendship, cooperation and development, multilateralization and diversification of foreign relations, as well as its foreknowledge defense policy, stressing peaceful measures to resolve disputes and disagreements based on international law. He emphasized Vietnam's stance on the issue, internationally known as the South China Sea, an issue that relevant parties should adhere to international law, especially the 1982 UNCLOS. Highlighting successful defense ties, he commended the progress made in high-level visit exchanges, training programs, UN peacekeeping operations, and across the defense industry. He affirmed Vietnam's readiness to welcome Polish military personnel to study Vietnamese at the Military Science Academy and participate in international training courses at the National Defense Academy. In the coming time, the two sides will focus on consolidating and perfecting the framework and mechanisms for bilateral defense cooperation, continue to promote the exchange of delegations at all levels to enhance understanding, trust and promote defense cooperation, In line with the overall Vietnam-Poland relationship, he called on Poland to continue supporting defense cooperation between Vietnam and the EU in line with their signed agreement. For his part, Mr. Bader hailed Vietnam as a key partner in Southeast Asia, highly appreciated Vietnam's proposals, suggested that functional agencies of both sides enhance exchange and contact to further deepen bilateral defense cooperation in particular and Vietnam-Poland relations in general in the coming time. On March the 24th, Senior Lieutenant General Phùng Sĩ Tấn, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, attended the inauguration of the Mine Action Demolition Training Range funded by the Office of Defense Cooperation within the U.S. Embassy in Vietnam. The U.S. Ambassador to Vietnam and Commander of the Indo-PACOM also attended the event. With a total cost of over $700,000, the Mine Action Demolition Training Range was built on an area of 2 hectares in Ba Vì District, Hanoi. This training ground is built according to the International Mine Action Standards while promoting the process of building a training center of the VN mark with sufficient capacity to perform the functions of a national training center on mine action. Senior Lieutenant General Phùng Sĩ Tấn believed the training range operations would open up a new phase of deeper, more substantive and effective cooperation between both countries for peace, cooperation and development. Earlier, Senior Lieutenant General Phùng Sĩ Tấn met with U.S. Ambassador to Vietnam, Mark Napper. Both sides were pleased to note that bilateral defense cooperation has been effectively implemented in various areas. In particular, cooperation in overcoming the consequences of war is a highlight. On the morning of March the 24th, the Army Service Women Advisory Board coordinated with the Ho Chi Minh City Women's Union to organize a meeting to honor 250 heroic Vietnamese mothers, female heroes of the People's Armed Forces, female wounded veterans, female former prisoners, and Saigon female commandos on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day. Senior Lieutenant General Lê Quang Minh, Vice Chairman of the General Political Department of the Vietnam People's Army, addressed the event. At the program, the delegates review the heroic feats of arms as well as the losses and sacrifices of the previous generations for the aspiration of peace and unity of the nation. With the tradition of when the enemy comes, women also fight. Despite facing difficulties, hardships and painful losses, women trust the party, fought bravely, and contributed significantly to the overall victory of the nation on April the 30th, 1975. In gratitude to national contributors, over the years, the Army Service Women Advisory Board and the Ho Chi Minh City Women's Union Chapter have organized many meaningful activities such as building gratitude houses, taking care of heroic Vietnamese mothers, or presenting gifts to severely wounded veterans' wives. On this occasion, the units presented gifts to national contributors for their contribution during the resistance war against the U.S. imperialists. Ta Thiết Base, known as the Government Forest, was the final headquarters of the Central Military Commission and the Southern Military Command. It served as a strategic logistic hub and command center for the Ho Chi Minh campaign, contributing to national reunification. Today, it is a historical site honoring past sacrifices. Ta Thiết played a key role in the resistance war against the U.S., especially from 1973 to 1975. Hidden in the dense forest, it was chosen for its defensive advantages. Crucial decision made here paved the way for the campaign's victory in 1975. The Politburo named the Saigon Gia-Định Liberation Campaign the Ho Chi Minh Campaign. The directive from Comrade Lê Duẩn was relayed to the campaign and regional command at Ta Thiết. The name signified a decisive final campaign, ensuring Saigon Gia-Định liberation. Visiting Ta Thiết, where the Southern Command was once stationed, Retired Colonel Lê Hoàng Yến, chairman of the LUONG Veterans Association, recalls the intense atmosphere of the Ho Chi Minh campaign. Having directly participated in the historic event, his vivid memories bring that momentous time to life. There was an overwhelming spirit of attack. Victory was the only thought. The whole nation was preparing for a historic moment. Today, the base has been restored and preserved, remaining a testament to the unity and resilience of Vietnamese soldiers and civilians during the war. Recognizing its historical significance, Tà Thiết was designated as a National Special Historical Site in 2012. Coming up next, strengthening solidarity of overseas Vietnamese with the country. Spreading Vietnamese language in Thailand. Some 100 overseas Vietnamese representatives of the Vietnam Fatherland Front and representatives of compatriots from various ethnic groups, religions and dignitaries in the country will participate in the Great Unity Ship to visit Trường Sa Island District and DK1 platforms in April 2025. This was revealed at the press briefing to inform about the work on overseas Vietnamese in the coming time, held on March the 24th in Hanoi. Over the past time, the work on overseas Vietnamese has been strongly and comprehensively implemented, thereby strengthening the great national unity bloc in the new situation. 2025 is the year to mark many anniversary days of the country. On these occasions, many activities for overseas Vietnamese will be jointly organized by the State Committee for Overseas Vietnamese Affairs, such as the launching ceremony of the Vietnamese Language Honor Day and the contest to find Vietnamese ambassadors abroad in 2025. The program of overseas Vietnamese delegation to attend the Hung King's Commemoration Day with main activities, namely offering incense at Hung King Temple, offering incense at the temple of President Ho Chi Minh, exchange activities and sightseeing on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the liberation of the South and National Reunification Day. In particular, it is expected that some 100 overseas Vietnamese representatives of the Vietnam Fatherland Front and representatives of compatriots from various ethnic groups, religions and dignitaries in the country will join the Great Unity Ship to visit Trường Sa Island District and DK1 platform. The activities aim to strengthen the solidarity between overseas Vietnamese and their homeland and country, arouse and raise awareness of safeguarding the national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Vietnam overseas and islands, consolidate the great national unity bloc, and contribute to building a sustainable future for the Vietnamese community both at home and abroad. As Vietnam-Thailand relations flourish, Vietnamese is becoming a popular foreign language among Thai students. Vietnamese classes in Thailand are fostering educational cooperation and cultural exchange between the two nations. In Ms. Nguyễn Thị Chiem's Vietnamese class at Srinacharinvirot University, over 20 students attentively listened as she explains homophones. The class becomes lively when she introduces a practice game using the new words.
The Faculty of Humanities.
Vietnamese has been taught here for over 10 years, initially part of Oriental languages. It later became part of international communication programs and now ASEAN language and culture studies. Ms. Chiem shared that teaching Vietnamese in Thailand requires meticulous planning, as teachers must design their own curriculum and create engaging lessons to attract students. Hello, my name is Bảo Ngọc. I am a third-year student. I love Vietnam and want to study in Hanoi. I also enjoy bánh mì and phở. I hope to become a lecturer like Ms. Chiem because her classes are a lot of fun. My name is Sơn. I study Vietnamese because it offers great job opportunities. My Vietnamese name is Ngọc Thạch. I am currently a third-year student. I love speaking Vietnamese. I admire Nguyễn Xuân Son. Vietnam has a beautiful culture. This June, I will be traveling to Vietnam to study at Hanoi University. When I get to Vietnam, I will try pho and egg coffee. Vietnamese learning is expanding across Thailand with strong support from Vietnamese diplomatic missions. Vietnamese Ambassador Phạm Việt Hùng affirmed that the embassy will continue assisting universities in promoting Vietnamese language education and cultural understanding. This is the end of the QPVN News today. Remember to watch our news again at qpvn.vn. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.